That's in Green Bay in the end of April. As of right now, last day of February is day 2 of the combine, and the last day for defensive players to be put through the on-field paces. And this is the final group of defenders. The defensive back group 5, chock full of safeties.
Oh, he got out right there.
Billy Bowman, 4.47.
Wonderful time. Let me give you a benchmark here. So last year, top 10 safeties in terms of interceptions, forced incompletions, size-wise, 5'11" and 5'8", 196 pounds, 40-wise, 4.54.
Well, he's below that mean to start us off. Sebastian Castro of Iowa is next.
He had a great Senior Bowl. A lot of these guys you're going to see have safety nickel flexibility, so they can play both spots. He spent a lot of time there in the nickel.
4.61.
Yeah, and that's a little bit was the question mark, is just that top end speed, a little quicker than fast, and relies more on his instincts than his raw speed.
There's Kevin Stefanski, second overall pick for the 2-time Coach of the Year of the Cleveland Browns. Not much chatter about Myles Garrett around this place.
Well, I think Matthew Stafford and Starbucks took up a lot of the oxygen.
Stafford and Starbucks. How about that? That sounds like a vaudeville act. Elijah Clark of Syracuse.
All right, what we got here?
4.61.
Yeah, he's much more comfortable in the deep half, reading and reacting, than he will be in man coverage.
Next up is Keaton Crawford of Nevada. Say hello to that young lady, and then you, Charles Davis.
Hey, can't top that smile, can we? But listen, just did Sebastian Castro, DJ. You were talking about him, and he brought up something this week unintentionally that really registered with me. These youngsters grow up wanting to be here. They know about this event. This is a benchmark for them. Sebastian Castro told me, I didn't dream of going to the combine. I dreamed of going to the league. He just wants to get through this and get on with his work.
4.43. Nice time.
We can do both, Charles. We can enjoy both.
Yeah. Okay,
here we go.
Nick Emanwari of South Carolina, a 43-inch vertical.
That's just stupid.
What was his broad?
11.6, if you're into that.
Equally as stupid as well. And those usually translate to fast 40s, and DB40 is out there. 6'3" and an 1/8. 220 coming at you.
Think about the creative ways you could deploy someone like him. You play a big-time tight end one week, he's yours. And with what we're getting ready to see right now, I don't know that you need to limit him to tight ends in terms of what he can do in coverage.
Number 25, right in the middle of your top 50, Daniel Jeremiah. Unfolds the 6'3" and an 1/8 frame. And is off.
That was clean. That's
moving. 4.4 flat for 4.0.
Goodness. And the forward lean all the way through. Oh, there's...
You have quite the comp for him as well, Daniel Jeremiah. You call his games on the radio, and it's Derwin James. What a comp.
Not many guys that have that blend of skills that Derwin James. And you saw last year when they made him that big nickel, you saw him take off, have a huge year because you can blitz him. You do so many things with him close to the line of scrimmage.
When Mitchell's former teammate is running like a 100-yard dash practically. 4.59 for Maxon Hook.
Good time for him. But going back to Emanwari, he plays as that big nickel in that same exact role, and you'll see him undercut routes, has a couple pick sixes.
Well, he's bigger and faster than Derwin James.
Crazy.
Are you kidding me?
Nuts.
All right. Let's time it. Lucy Calorie in one box. And so Rayon Lane of Navy.
See if she likes her
Running
time.
a 4.57. Let's check it out. Shows it to Dad.
Yep. He's got to take notes. He's got to write it down.
He's writing it down.
Yep.
It's so fun.
That's great. She got a nice watch too. She didn't go cheap. She's invested in this thing.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, that's a nice watch. Nicely
You
done.
can tell from up here.
Oh yeah, it's not a cheapo. Come on.
R.J. Mickens.
R.J. Mickens here. They play him in the box slot. He can cover in the slot. Physical tackler. 5th year there at Clemson.
And he is the son of Ray Mickens. Played for the Jets, Browns, and Patriots. 4.5 flat.
It's a good time. Again, that 4.54 number is a good target here. So anything going south of that is outstanding.
Here's Andrew Makuba of Texas.
Speaking of Clemson here.
Boy.
Clemson transfer.
I mean, Joe Burrow looked much younger. It's like if Joe Burrow was Benjamin Button, right? He's getting younger.
Joe Burrow's doing his best to keep the band together.
I was about to say,
in Cincinnati.
Yeah. If Cincinnati's trying to sign 3. 4.46.
Really good time. Makuba was a Clemson transfer at 5 picks. Really good angles, both in coverage and in run support. One thing with him is just some of the missed tackles. That's the one thing you want to see him work on, but a good football player.
Stacy?
Nick Eamon Worry is having a day. Obviously, I watched him on the vertical with the 4.43. He wanted a 40, so he exceeded that. Broad jump, he wanted an 11.2, he told me. He exceeded that, 11.6. Now, 40, he wanted a 4.3, somewhere in the 4.3. So he's sitting at an unofficial 4.4. He's going to go again. But I think what's interesting about him, DJ and Rich, is when you stand with him, he's 6'3", 220. He looks about 6'5". And so people have asked, is he a guy that should move to linebacker? And he said, no, that is not the consensus. People love his size at a safety spot, DJ. And they're almost amazed at how he moves at that size, though. It's really fascinating because he's so large of a human being.
4.5 flat right there. And
well, you know.
By the way, if Stacy's saying somebody looks tall, you know, and that's somebody whose banner's hanging next to Mookie Blaylock's, you know what I mean? In Oklahoma.
Yeah. Stacy's done okay athletically in her career.
No doubt.
I thought she was going to quote Fletch there for a second.
With the afro?
6'9" with the afro.
Good one. Jonas Sanker.
Great time. Jonas Sanker.
Virginia.
By the way, a minute ago, we had Lane run. I don't know if we talked much about Ray and Lane there from Navy, but all these guys go to training facilities to get ready for this thing. Now, when you're at the Naval Academy, you just get to the combine for the time you need to be at the combine. The rest of the time, you got business to tend to at the academy.
Marquise Siegel of Kansas State. Marquise getting out there just 1 pound shy of 2 bills.
That nice pick 6 against West Virginia.
And 5/8 of an inch shy of 6 feet.
Do we have Charles with us?
Hey, Marcus. Remember, your offhand went up and he just took off. Offhand goes up, hold for 3 counts. You got this, man. You're cool.
Charles is out there yet.
Hey, CD, I got one for you.
Yes, sir.
There he is.
We see a lot of guys here with nickel flex here. They can play free safety. They can play nickel. And all, you know, you're doing these games each and every week, seeing the best and the brightest in the NFL. It's almost become a must that you've got to be able to cross-train at a couple different spots as a safety right now. There's no such thing as a free and a strong. You've got to be able to do different things.
No, we've talked about this over the last few years. A lot of teams began with taking away free and strong and calling their safeties mirrors, right? You go whatever the strength of the formation. If it goes strength changes, you just switch switch assignments. Strong safety, free safety, the same thing. Now you're talking about the nickel guys. How about Tyke Smith from Georgia? Remember him coming here?
Yep.
What was he going to play? Well, he did a heck of a job in Tampa Bay being more of their nickel guy. You mentioned Derwin James, how things took off for him when he went inside to play nickel. And I'm looking at Eamon Wari, and I'm thinking to myself, Kyle Hamilton's like a prototype as well. And Eamon Wari ran 4.4, and Kyle Hamilton ran 4.56.
4.37 for Siegel. That is a sub 4.440 by a safety.
That's fantastic. And there's another one, which we're just talking about. It covers in the slot, plays in the deep half, and almost 200 pounds, 199 pounds. That's awesome. Oh, here's a good one here.
Seeing this guy, Malachi Starks.
He is big-time leader there for that Georgia team.
Well, he's been in some big games over his career.
He is very smart. He's a good communicator, and he's another one who plays some nickel, plays all around, can play high. Had a pick against Clemson, is about as athletic as you'll see. Smooth.
4.5 flat.
That was just a nice, smooth 4.5 flat.
This comp is a very decorated and enriched man in Atlanta.
I love it when the play styles are so similar, and I mean, that is a DNA match when you look at those numbers.
Jesse Bates. Back with more 40s. We'll show you what you missed and give you the latest of the safety group here in Indianapolis. Well, while the network was filling up the bag, Hunter Wohler of Wisconsin ran a 40. Hunter Wohler with a 4.63. Craig Woodson of Cal.
I'm a Craig Woodson fan.
Well, at 4.46 you should be.
And now I'm the president of the fan club.
That was the last of the first 40s. Here's the first of the second. An improved time for Billy Bowman.
Billy Bowman's got a chance to go on day number 2 of the draft.
Sebastian Castro, can he improve on his 4.61? The answer is yes.
Nice. And that seems small, but that looks great. When you get a 5 in there instead of a 6,
Okay.
Let's go.
Elijah Clark. We saw one 4.61 improved upon. And another considerably.
Hey now.
1/10 of a second. Usually
That
don't
is
see
awesome.
that.
Good for him.
Keaton Crawford.
He's already done his work. That's gravy.
We've seen improved times already through every 40 run for the second time. And an improvement here would be an eyebrow raiser, to say the least. Nick Evenwari of South Carolina, 6'3 1/8, 220, jumping out of the building, vertically, horizontally, and he ran a 4.4 flat unofficially his first time. Stacey Delson chatting with the young man, said he wanted to run sub 4.4. He's got one last chance to do it here at the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine, live on NFL Network.
I'm not going to bet against him, I can tell you that much. Hey, let's get right here.
Okay, needs to get his mind right again, stepping away.
By the way, his competitiveness, they're in the spring game. They pull him out at halftime, say you're done. And then his team, they get late in the fourth quarter, and his team's going to lose. It's a spring game, a meaningless spring game. The coaches look up. He's reinserted himself into the game to get the stop they needed for his team to win the spring game of all things. But just an example of how competitive he is to go along with how athletic he is.
An old school mentality, not only to reinsert yourself in a game that's so-called meaningless, but just to have a spring game at all.
That's true. Those are
those
part
days.
of a past generation, apparently.
It does appear to be the case.
I think some poaching took place.
That's what to say. Why give anyone a free look of what a portal can look like? All right, so let's try a second run at this for the South Carolina safety.
Clean run.
4, 3, 8, and a round of applause.
That is awesome.
He ran and then hopped and he skipped and he jumped. He's done it all. A sub 4.40 from a 6'3 1/8", 220-pound individual. Getting all the love from his group mates.
Just texting with Derwin James. He said, bro is a dog. He's a great kid. So he has a relationship with him. So that's pretty cool.
Improved second 40s everywhere. Wow. Yeah, and he just wrote "dang flying" with two fire emojis. Showing me your phone there. Nice flex. Derwin James is texting.
He's one
Jeremiah.
of my favorite players that I've been around in 20 years. Derwin James is awesome.
Just have my wife texting me. She's a star as well. Nicely done. Bring on Lane of Navy.
4.57 when you're not really able to leave the academy and go train. It's pretty darn good.
4.57, moving down the line. And there is Derwin James's defensive coordinator looking on.
Jesse Minner. He's going to be a head coach in this league in no time. He did a great job with that Charger defense last year, not just Derwin James and getting him rolling, but really putting all those pieces in the right place.
Joe Ortiz, the general manager, out there in LA, sitting next to him. Mickens runs a 4.540.
It's great times.
My goodness. I'm looking at this card that Jack Andrade, NFL Network research star, let's call him what he is.
He's the best.
Just placed on my desk here. Players at 6'3" or taller to run a 40 sub 4.4 and have a 40-inch vertical and an 11-foot broad jump since 2003, since we started covering this event. There's only 2 people. Nick Ebenwari and DK Metcalf.
Do you remember what we said about
the human bat suit is what you called him. That's it.
That is
DK
good
Metcalf and a safety from South Carolina that we just saw run 4.46. Nice.
And
Cuba.
There's some that would like to see him as a teammate of DK Metcalf. I think he'd fit quite nicely in there with the Seahawks.
There it is. That's your comp. We're comping safety with DK Metcalf. My goodness gracious.
I would like to see him on the basketball court 2-on-2. I don't think there'd be a lot of people that want to sign up for that matchup.
Yeah.
Although in Indianapolis, is that like an Antonio Davis, Dale Davis
I remember
combo
it.
there?
Yep.
And this is
Jalen
a good football player here. They've got 2 good safeties at Penn State.
That's
good.
4.540.
See if maybe get the officials. Maybe he can tick just under. But I love the way he plays. He literally plays with his hair on fire. Well, not literally, but it's.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I should specify. But he is all out all the time. I just love the energy that he plays with. He's a fun player to study.
Jonas Sanker. He ran sub 4.5. Stick with his first run. There's Marquise Siegel.
I mean, his time is noteworthy. That is moving for Siegel. I did not know he had that in him. That was a surprise to me. That was a unbelievable time. I thought when I watched him, like, he kind of relies on his eyes and instincts maybe a little bit more than his pure speed, and that's going to cause me to go back and watch a little bit more of that K-State tape after that. Good night.
Okay, let's stick with his first run. You could see the best time for a defensive back, Kentucky's Maxwell Hairston, 4.28, which should stand all the way to tomorrow when we see the running backs and wideouts go, and Isaiah Bond, whose teammate Xavier Worthy set the record last year of 4.21. Bond said he can run in the 4.1s today. That's what he said. He's expecting 4.2 flat, which is what he Instagrammed out upon Xavier Worthy's run last year.
He's not learned the art of under-promising and over-delivering, Rich.
No.
And maybe he is. If that's the case, that's insane.
He's trying to shake and stir. He runs in the 4.1s, huh? Malachi Starks, 4.5 flat the first time. And the second.
He's going to end up going in the first round. I have him as the second safety. Imanwari, Starks, obviously different body types, but both outstanding players. And when you talk about safeties, don't underestimate the importance of the communication aspect of it, the intelligence aspect of it. And Starks, he can be the nerve center for your defense.
Here's Wohler. What do you think? I'm going to have you call your shot in the last day of February. We'll recheck it on the final Thursday of April. The position group that's going to have the most first rounders.
Oh, it's going to be defensive linemen, and then it's just a matter of whether it's going to be DTs or edge rushers.
4.58, improved time. It's a round of applause, a smattering of applause here in Big Ten country.
I think we're going to see 16, 17 of the top 50 picks be defensive line.
It's that deep.
Yeah.
And again, we just saw what happened in the playoffs. Copycat league, go hunt.
And it's not even like you're trying to invent guys because of that. It just happens to be a year where there's a ton of them.
Sure.
I'm a Craig Woodson guy, Rich. I mentioned that. And the 40-time first run-through, excellent.
Cal's Craig Woodson, 4.51.
Stick with that first one. At the training facility where he was, his workout group was 8 a.m. They said he was there at 6:45 in the morning every single day.
Impressive.
All business.
Okay, here's the simulcam. We got it? We're going to do it? You want it?
I would love to see it.
There he is. Derwin James against Imanwari. Who's your comp? And we had him clocked unofficially at 4.38. Derwin James ran what? What did he run back in the day?
They're right together here.
Stride for stride. Let's see if Imanwari breaks free. He does.
25-yard mark started to pull away a little bit.
Yep, a 4.47 was James back in 2018, and the simulcam bears that out. He even tweeted out, "Yes, sir." So that's what the rest of the world sees. You just get the text.
But Derwin's so competitive, he's texting, what did he bench?
Is that why you asked Jack?
Yes.
Wow. Get him his info.